The Grand Canyon. One of the most photographed landmarks in the world. And Sedona, the lesser known, but absolutely beautiful desert town south of the Grand Canyon. And if you've thought about traveling to either of these places, in this video we're going to show you how to plan the ultimate Arizona road trip. The Grand Canyon doesn't have an airport, so you'll have to fly into one of the major cities surrounding it. Las Vegas, Phoenix, or Flagstaff. Same goes for Sedona. We recommend flying into Phoenix or Las Vegas because they're typically the cheaper options. Just know that the drive from either is about 4 to 4.5 hours to the Grand Canyon. We flew into Phoenix in the mornings so that we could catch the sunset at the canyon. At the time of making this video, there's no reservation fee for getting into the park. However, you'll still need to pay the $35 entry fee at the gate.
Unless you've watched our videos before and you have the, you guessed it, America the Beautiful Pass.
Which is a pass you pay for one time and receive unlimited entries into national parks for a year. The Grand Canyon is broken up into two sides, the South Rim and the North Rim. The South Rim is where 90% of the visitors go, and it has two entrances, the South and East. The North Rim, which is far less visited and open only for a portion of the year, has one entrance. All of our recommendations in this video are going to focus on the South Rim.
Can you fill up my water?
Not right now.
Can you ask that guy if he can fill up my water?
Hey, elk.
Hey, bro.
This is probably one of the more important questions about visiting Grand Canyon National Park. And here's why. If you Google how long to stay in Grand Canyon National Park, you're going to get a variety of answers. Some people say at least a week, other people say a couple of hours. And neither of them are wrong. The Grand Canyon is one of the most accessible parks. You can literally drive up to the edge and get the coolest views of the canyon. If all you want to do is see the canyon, take a quick picture, you can do the Grand Canyon in a day. And then you don't even have to worry about accommodations. On the other hand, the Grand Canyon's massive, so you could spend weeks exploring and still not see all it has to offer. So, keep watching this video to see our recommended things to do and decide for yourself how long you want to stay. We ended up booking 2 nights at Mather Campground. Camping in national parks is a new thing for us, but it's a great way to save money. You can reserve these sites on recreation.gov, search Mather Campground, and you'll only be paying $18 a night, as opposed to nearby Airbnbs and hotels which can cost anywhere between $80 and $200 a night. Not to mention all of those options are mostly outside the park. Now, there are a couple lodging options inside the park, but unless you can afford $250 a night, have fun camping. We really did enjoy camping. It may not be the best night's sleep you've ever had, but you get to be in the park, under the stars, and you may even have one of these guys visit.
Amanda.
I forgot to tell you I invited him for breakfast.
What is the best time of the year to visit? We went in the month of June, and the biggest downside was the heat. But honestly, hot days are hard to avoid in the desert. What we liked about camping in June were the cool nights that dipped down into the 50s and 60s, which made for a perfect night's sleep outdoors. Now, some people will recommend going outside of peak season, which falls between March and May or September through November to avoid crowds, but we didn't think it was too overcrowded in June. Again, it probably depends on what you do. If you just go for the day to the tourist lookouts, it may seem overcrowded. I've also heard people recommend winter, which may be a unique time of the year to see the canyon, but it does get snow, so you'll have to watch out for road closures at that point. Okay, now what should you do? What you may not have realized is the Grand Canyon has a lot of trail systems, and the trails are very long. Most of the trails lead you down through the canyon to the Colorado River at the bottom. First, I'm going to highlight some of the big to-dos, and then I'll give you my opinion on what's worth your time. Mather Point is one of the most famous lookouts. Here you'll get an epic view of the canyon, especially if you go for sunrise or sunset. Amanda and I personally think sunset at the Grand Canyon might be one of the top sunsets we've ever experienced. Next, the Rim Trail. The Rim Trail is very popular because it's a flat trail going along the outside rim of the park. You can travel for 13 miles seeing the most iconic views of the canyon. Now for the two big hikes of the South Rim, which are the Bright Angel Trail and the South Kaibab Trail. I'll make a note here that hiking in the Grand Canyon is different than almost anywhere else. First, all the hikes start downhill. It can be sort of defeating once you've made great timing going down, then you realize you have to trek all the way back up, so keep that in mind. Number 2, there's no shade. Even if you start early in the morning, at some point you're going to be in direct sunlight, so make sure you pack plenty of sunscreen and water. Third, there are a bunch of horses and mules that you'll pass going along the trail, so look out for poop. A popular thing to do at the Grand Canyon is to take a mule ride down to the Colorado River. Now, Amanda and I didn't get to do this on this trip, but we did say if we go back, it might be fun to do an overnight mule ride down to the bottom of the canyon and back. The most popular trail in the park is the Bright Angel Trail. If you do the full trail, it's 15.3 miles long with 3,000 feet of elevation gain. Now, if you'd like to make this hike shorter, we recommend going down to the 1.5 mile rest house or the 3 mile rest house. We think you get just as good of views, and you still get to go under the 2 iconic tunnels, but the hike's only 3 to 6 miles round trip at that point. The second most popular hike is along the South Kaibab Trail. Again, if you do this entire trail, you're looking at 15 miles round trip. Similar to Bright Angel, we recommend not doing the full trail. We hiked down to Cedar Ridge, which was only 3 miles round trip. We still saw some amazing views, including the famous lookout called Ooh Ah Point. But be warned, there are no water fill-ups on the trail, so make sure you pack in plenty with you. After you do those trails, there are a few lookouts we recommend visiting. Hopi Point, Mather Point, and Desert View Watchtower. Now, here's our honest opinion on the Grand Canyon. Because of its scale and its uniqueness, it's certainly worth seeing, but Sedona's better. You'll have to stay tuned to see why we like Sedona better. But here's the thing, once you've seen the Grand Canyon, you've seen it. The view doesn't change much even if you hike down into the canyon or around it. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be people who disagree with me, but we think it's only worth staying a couple days. Check out a couple of the lookouts, do parts of some of the hikes, and you're done. You know, if I'm leaving out something really awesome, please let me know in the comments. We headed out of the East Gate to travel on to Sedona.
All right, leaving the Grand Canyon. Are you sad?
It was a great time, but I'm ready to go to Sedona.
Same. On to Sedona now.
It's about a 2-hour drive, and you'll pass some beautiful scenery through Flagstaff on the way. And if you want a taste of what it's like driving into Sedona,
I'll be right next to you. I'll be right next to you.
Sedona feels like a desert oasis. Lots of things to do outdoors, hikes, ATVs, good food. What more could you want?
All right, we just made it to Sedona. Amanda, how gorgeous is this place?
It's really pretty.
Sedona's not that big, so you really can't go wrong. If you're a budget traveler like us, look into some Airbnbs or campgrounds. But you can also find nicer accommodations at hotels. Every hike, restaurant, and activity is less than 15 minutes from the city. We went with a small Airbnb for 3 nights, 4 days, and couldn't have asked for a better setup. 4 days gave us enough time to explore all that Sedona had to offer. Which leads us to what should you do in Sedona? Hikes, hikes, more hikes, and one restaurant, which we'll get to. Sedona has an awesome trail system that leads to all kinds of caves and cool sandstone formations. We'll give you some of our favorites, but first you need to know about the parking permits. Sedona's trail system is on national forest land, so you'll need a parking permit at most of the hikes. You have two options. The first is a Red Rocks Pass. It's $5 for the day or $15 for 7 days. Most of the trailheads have options to purchase the pass at a little kiosk, or you can get it beforehand online. The other option, that's right, the beloved America the Beautiful Pass, which functions as your permit. You just put it in your dash. Now for some recommended hikes. The first we'll recommend is the hike to Subway Cave. We like this view so much that we did it twice. One of those times was late at night.
So I decided to try to go back a different way, and now we are wandering in the woods a little bit here. We got lost for a little bit. It's definitely my fault. I tried to go a different way. Turns out it was not a different way. It was not a way at all. It was a dead end.
We made it though, but be warned, this hike is a bit tricky. You start at the Boynton Canyon trailhead and it'll be mostly flat for the first couple miles. Around the 2-mile mark, you'll hit the turnoff for Subway Cave. However, there's no sign telling you where the trail starts. Trust me on this, you'll have to look for this large tree and then you'll know where the turnoff is to the right. Once you're on this trail, it's only about a mile more to the cave. To get up to the subway portion of the cave, you'll have to scale some rocks. It's not too hard as long as you're wearing shoes with good grip. The views are well worth it when you get to the top. Pro tip, we like using all trails when we're doing these more off the beaten path hikes. Even the free version, which is what we use, works really well. Actually, the point at which we got lost on this hike is when I turned off all trails on my phone. The next hike we recommend is to Birthing Cave. This may be the easiest hike in Sedona. You begin at the Long Canyon trailhead. It's only 2 miles with 200 feet of elevation gain, and once you're in the cave, you get a cool view of the red Sedona rocks in the distance. The most popular hike in Sedona is Devil's Bridge. So popular that if you don't get to the parking lot before 6:30 or 7 a.m., you probably won't find a spot. The hike starts off relatively flat and then gains 400 feet of elevation up to the iconic bridge. The bridge is really cool with a great backdrop, but you'll probably have to stand in line to take a photo. For the more adventurous souls who want to hike out to a more remote cave, we recommend driving out to Robber's Roost. It's a bit outside Sedona, and you'll need a 4x4 or a higher clearance vehicle to get there, and it can be tricky to get to. Here's my attempt at some directions. You'll drive south on 89A. After 10 miles, turn right onto Forest 525 Road. After 3 miles, stay left onto 525C. After 7 more miles, you'll arrive at the parking lot. From the parking lot, you'll walk up the gravel road and you'll finally see the Hideout Cave trailhead. The trail itself dips into a valley and then back up the other side. You'll round the mountain on the left side and then you'll find the cave.
All right, made it to Robber's Roost.
Really cool.
Managed to said it's her favorite hike.
Yeah, like the view.
The view.
Yeah.
Well, it's got like super good shade. It's crazy. It's 20 degrees cooler in the shade in the desert.
So those are some of our favorite hikes, but Sedona still has a lot more to offer. We'd recommend checking out Chapel of the Holy Cross, which is this unique church built into the side of a mountain. You can shop around at the I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It's this arts and crafts village where you can get some good food and art, if you're into that sort of thing. You can also catch a sunset on Airport Lookout, which provides some awesome views over the city. Or you can do one of the classic pink Jeep tours. The last thing we'll recommend is our favorite food. Not only in Sedona, but maybe one of the better meals we've had, period. And it was at the Elote Cafe. Make sure you book your reservation in advance because it gets packed. but the food is to die for. Make sure you get the classic corn dish called Elote. Now, if you're flying out of Phoenix and have never explored the city, it may be worth spending one extra night. We ended up catching a Diamondbacks game and bopped around Scottsdale before jumping on our flight. And that is how we planned our ultimate Arizona road trip. If you have any questions or you think we left anything out, please let us know in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.